different weights, different colors, pigmentation, different economic strata, different ethnic backgrounds. We are from different cultures, but one thing we all have in common, that's time. Why is that so important? Because what you are and what you become depends on how you use your time. The billionaire and the beggar both have 24 hours every day. We measure life in terms of time. The old and the young, the black and the white, are all given the same amount of time every day. Time cannot be stopped. You cannot stop a day. You cannot stop an hour. They have no respect for you. But you can control how it will be used.
Inspiring habits.
Which means that even though time is unstoppable, it is controllable. And what you do with it determines who you become. Can you honestly say to yourself that you used time effectively?
One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life. And when we begin to understand and know that, accepting that reality, that we will never ever have things just on an even keel all the time, that you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. But during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place. That's where the work is. Anybody can feel good when they have their health, their bills are paid, they have happy relationships, the children are acting normal, business is successful. Anybody could be positive then. Anybody can have faith under those kinds of circumstances. See, but the real challenge of growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, comes when you get knocked down. Adversity introduces a man to himself or a woman. How you handle it, that's where the growth takes place.
I think about time a lot because time is life. And every time a year passes, you are basically measuring time. A year is the passing of time in our cultures. A new year is an opportunity to refine your purpose. Secondly, a new year is an opportunity to redefine your life's vision, to see if you are still on course or if you need to adjust. Thirdly, a new year is an opportunity to reestablish worthwhile goals. And I use the term worthwhile because some of our goals may not be worth pursuing anymore. And fourthly, a new year is an opportunity for you to bury the past and move into a new future. In other words, time is a blessing or a curse depending on how you manage it. Time is life. What have you become is totally dependent on how you use time.
I was going through a major challenge in my life that was wearing me out, that was using me. And one of my students told me in a class that I was teaching, Lessons in Truth, she said, Les, until you handle it with grace, it will stay in your face. And it stayed there a long time. Are you going through it or are you growing through it? Because it's not going to leave you until you grow through it. Are you learning anything or are you doing it over and over and over again? Insanity is doing the same thing in the same way, expecting a different outcome.
I thank God for time. Time is a relief. Time is good news. Look at Genesis 1:14. It tells you when God created time. It says, and God said, let there be lights in the expanse of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark what? Seasons and days and years. What's the purpose for time? First of all, time was given to us to take us out of eternity. Secondly, time was given us to protect us from forever. If you had a pain in your back in eternity, it would be an eternal pain. Thank God for time. Time has a beginning and an end. Time was given to us to measure the purpose of our life, why we live. I thank God for time. But time has some limitations. God says, look, when I gave you birth, I hired you to do something, and I got a certain period for you to do it in, and you can't exceed that. Time is determined. I like this one, Psalm 90 verse 12, read. So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. In other words, let me know how long and how much I have to do so I can use my days effectively. Ecclesiastes 8 verse 6, for there is a proper time and a procedure for every matter under heaven. In other words, there's a proper way and time to do everything. Whatever you've been through, you can now say it was last year. Tell your neighbor, I was broke last year.
The next thing that is important is that expect things to get better for you, because they are. See, life is cyclic. You're not, whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Not to stay, just to pass. It's just going through. The biggest challenge is to know what's happening. This is a part of this thing we call life. This too shall pass. And maintaining perspective, putting it in perspective. How do we get stuck? A friend of mine working on a job, loved the company very much, expected to retire there. And one day they called him in the office, asked him for his badge and identification, told him he was fired and he had to leave then. He was devastated. And if you came anywhere near him, he will tell you his story, as we all have stories. Even when he got a job, he went on the job telling anybody who would listen how they fired him unjustly. And he always ended with, it wasn't fair. Life isn't fair. It's not fair that birds eat worms, and they do.
In other words, whatever happened in the past separates you from the future. That's how good time is. I used to be sick. That was yesterday. Health is on the way. Time separates your past from your present and your future, because time protects us from living in a permanent condition. You won't be a divorcee all your life. Time will prove that. You won't hurt with grief all your life. You won't be sitting around because that man didn't marry you.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
There's another man on the way with a fantastic life, with plenty more money than the one you was trying to get. Time will sort this out.
You know, when you go into a service station to get gas, you don't go in there and just start pumping. When you push the lever up, it clears the previous bill. By the same token, if you want to begin to move, you've got to clear your mind of all the unnecessary luggage and baggage that's weighing us down. All of us have experienced some tragedy, and if we haven't, we will. Sometimes your life will be in a slump, and you can either let it destroy your life or you can build upon it. I'm not going to let this destroy. You can permit it to let it hold you down, or you can decide, I'm not going to let that happen to me. I'm bigger than this. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how much you work on yourself. There are some times when things aren't going to go right. There are times when anything that can happen will happen. Make a declaration to yourself. Declare all-out war that you're going to get out of this rut. I suggest to you that if you are facing a challenge, don't stop. Stay busy. Work your plan. Continue to do those things that you know that work for you after you have evaluated yourself in the situation. Sometimes you have to back up and go within and pray and meditate and recharge your batteries. Go away, clear your head, and then come back and look at it from a different vantage point.
Nothing is permanent in time. Make a note of this one, please, and this is very important. Time is the only commodity on earth given equally to every human being. We don't possess the same amount of money. We possess the same amount of time. So the key to life is what you become in life is determined by how you use the time you have, and that's why we use terms like spending time. Time is a currency. Every human has the same amount every day, and time, like currency, must be spent. Time is used to buy life. So whatever you are, you spend your time buying it. Even if you're broke, you use your time to become broke. You see, time determines everything. If your marriage is under stress, it's because you haven't used your time in your marriage properly. Time is so powerful that whatever you invest your time in, you become. You got one new year about to start. My question is, what you going to do with the next 12 months? What are you going to look like? What are you going to have or not have? There are some people in your life you need to drop. In other words, time gives you time to change relationships. I put it to you, friends, that you can actually treat time just like money. Write this down. You can have time stolen. How many of you sat with people for 2 hours? When you was finished, you wasn't sure what happened. I mean, 2 hours of your life gone, and they talked to you, and you gained nothing. The older I get, the less time I have to just listen to talk. I don't know about you, but you ain't old enough yet. There's a certain period in your life where you realize, I ain't got time for this. People just kind of wander into your life. Let's talk. Talk about what?
Next thing is that you've got to activate the thinker in you. Don't stop. Don't allow your emotions to control you. We are emotional, but you want to begin to discipline your emotion. Your mind goes on automatic. You know, weeds don't have to have any encouragement to grow. You don't have to water them. They don't have to get sunshine. They don't have to have fertile ground. They will grow through the cracks of a sidewalk. But if you want to grow orchids or roses or any kind of exotic flowers, there are special processes and procedures you must go through. Well, by the same token, you don't have to force yourself or motivate yourself to think negatively, to be depressed, to hate somebody, to want revenge, to want to get back at somebody, to beat yourself up over the head, to feel loaded with guilt. You don't have to make any effort to do that. Your mind is on automatic. It will do that by itself. But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, if you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it. And you're going to go all out to have it. It's not going to be easy. You've got to make those kind of declarations to yourself. I'm unstoppable. This will not get me down. The challenges of life.
Write this down. Time can be what? Abused. Time can also be lost. You can lose it, just like money. Time can be squandered, just like money. You can spend an entire day. Have you ever said this? I don't know where the day gone. Why? You squandered it. It didn't take you closer to your goals, didn't take you closer to your vision, didn't accomplish the things you wanted, and you spent it and squandered it on stuff that didn't count. Time is more important than money. That's why the businessman say time is money. Can I put it another way? Write this down. Time can be depreciated just like money. Time can also be devalued. Every hour is important. My question is, what are you spending it on? You can reduce the value of your life by who you spend your time with, where you spend your time all day. You can devalue your time. Can I suggest this? That time can also be revalued. You can actually increase the value of your time by choosing what you do with it. I learned years ago, if you broke and I broke, you was bad company. You complain, I complain, and we just one big complaining party. Somebody got to get out of here. You ain't going nowhere, I ain't going nowhere, we end up nowhere, I'm out of here. You can revalue your time by just adjusting your relationships. The books you read. I mean, I've seen people read them love novel books. A love novel book don't take you to your goals. You know, Sam kissed Susan, and they went for a cruise along the river. Listen, man, you broke. You need another book. You got to revalue your time. Change your library. Go dump some books when you go home tonight. Not one of my books is a waste of time, because I use my time to produce those books, and they're valuable. Because I use my time to give my time value. People spend all kind of money on magazines, and you still got problems. Time. You can become a victim of time. Write this down, please. You can never stop time. Time doesn't adjust for you or nothing. You can never buy time. Can't buy it. You can never slow time down. You can never speed up time. Until death, you are stuck in time. You are victims. And therefore, all you have to do to make time your friend is to manage it. Psalm 90 verse 10. The length of our days is 70 years. Then what? Or 80. If we have the strength, yet those span is but trouble and sorrow. For they quickly pass and we fly away. The average age of a human, God says, will be between 70 and 80. My father's here tonight. Boy, I tell you, I'm so jealous of my daddy. He's 89 years old. He ready to run a marathon. He says, you have about 70 years, good years, he says. What are you going to do with them?
So when you begin to look at your past, give an interpretation that empowers you That's where I used to be. That's not where I am now. I'm growing.
What do you do with time? Write this down. First of all, you can manage it. Secondly, you can use it. Thirdly, you can invest it. Fourthly, you can convert it. In other words, you can use time to develop and build and construct things. You can turn your life into value by the way you use your time. You can use time to fulfill your divine purpose. Time itself is given to you as a gift from God. And so Ephesians 5 says, wherefore, stay awake. That's what the verse says. What? Wake up. Why? Because you can live your whole life sleeping. Awake thou who sleepest, and arise from the dead. Even Christ himself wants to shine upon you. Verse 15. Look therefore carefully at how you walk, not as unwise, but as what? Wise. And then he says what? Redeem the time, because the days are full of evil. I was doing this with my life for the last 40 years, maximizing every minute of my life. I started when I was a teenager. When my friends were playing marbles, I was reading the Bible. When my friends were looking for a girlfriend, I was writing songs. So don't get jealous of me. I use my time differently. I am a product of how I use my time. How many times you read the Bible this year? Did you ever read the Bible this year? So do you know God's word? Your life is how you use your time. Look at the next verse. He says what? Therefore, be not foolish, but understand what the will of God is. And be not what? Drunken with wine, where there is riot, and be...
Hello. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. If you can hear me, please, can you just type in yes? If you can hear me clearly, type in yes. Type in yes into the chat box if you can hear me clearly and see my screen. Okay. Okay, so let's start up. So thank you all. Good evening. Thank you all for joining. Before we start up, you're welcome to today's daily market review with Greywise FX for the 21st of August 2019. So before we start off, I would advise you go through this. You go through this, you acquaint yourself with it. It's my Telegram handle and this is my Twitter handle in case you wish to reach across to me. So, without spending most of the time, let's get down to business. So, as first always, we start with the fundamental calendar. It's important you get an idea of what the calendar is saying. You understand? Because it's not that you are trading the news, but the deal there is that you're just giving the news the respect it deserves. Are you with me? You're giving the news the respect it deserves. It's not that as if you're afraid of the news, because I personally do not trade news, but I will advise you should be aware of its any timed or scheduled news outcome. So for tomorrow being Wednesday the 21st, we have minor impact, this public sector net borrowing on the British pound 9:30 a.m. 1:30 p.m. we have CAD high impact news, followed by two other minor impact news. And then the star of the attraction tomorrow, the FOMC. And it's like for those of you who don't know what FOMC means, just take your time to Google it. Just take your time to Google it. It will do you a whole lot of good. So out of the way, let's get down to business. So as always, we start with the dollar index. It gives us an idea of the dollar strength against other currency pairs. If you have a strong dollar, most often than not, it means it's what they call risk off in the market. That means money will be moving out of other currency pairs into the dollar pair. So now let's get across to this. So looking at the US dollar, this is a daily view. Well, this might be looking like a textbook railway track. Let's zoom in a bit. It might be looking like a textbook railway track. As you can see, if it closes like this, then we'll be looking at the textbook railway track. Then what would that imply? It implies that we might see a bit of dollar weakness tomorrow. Like I always say, most times there's what they call buy the rumor, sell the fact. The currency pair tends to start appreciating before the outcome of the news, and most times when the news comes out, it will drop. I'm not saying the dollar is going to drop, but it may, given what we are seeing. But looking at this pair on my intraday chart, it's still sitting above 98.13. It's still sitting above 98.13. What you'll be waiting for here, just like I said, it's going to pull up, hit this level, and bounce up. But it didn't break above 98.45. So it's finding support at 98.13. Now, there's a storyline. As long as this 98.13 holds, it has a tendency to still move up. But what will confirm the dollar weakness is if you have something like this. That's if they close below, a retest, and then a rejection down, then that is when you know you might be seeing a little bit of dollar weakness. And I also will be picking up value. I have a zone here, picking up something here, picking up a support area at this point. So you have first support, second support. So that is it for the dollar index. But for now, it's looking bullish, but it has a bearish formation. This is a reversal pattern. This is a bearish reversal pattern, and it is happening at this prior height. So we might see a bit of dollar weakness tomorrow. So the next pair we'll be looking at is gold. If we look at gold, let's get gold's idea from a daily view. Let's see how gold closed up from the daily. This is gold. Like I said, they are still holding 1496.23. They're still holding that level. You know, see, yesterday closed bearish, but this place acted as support and it's going back up. And this 1496.23 is coming in from, let my chart load up a bit. It's loading. It's loading. Let my chart load up a bit. Network is not tipped up shape. Now, let me see. Ouch. The chart is taking time to load this even. It's taking a bit longer. I wanted to show you where this level is coming from. Showing loading here, it's taking a bit of time. Okay, so I think it has cropped up. That level, I think it should be here. It's coming in from this high here. That's 1496.23. That's what you have here. So as you can see, it's playing support there. If you notice, whenever price dropped to this level, they never closed below this level. So that shows you that this level is a pivot. If you get the close below this level, then that might signal further weakness. But the close of today is pointing to the possibility of further upside move. This is what you call a bullish piercing pattern. This daily close is halfway into the body of the prior bearish candle. So that means we might see a further rally on this pair. We might see further rally on this pair. So the next pair we'll be looking at is, that's what we're having here. It's somewhere around here. So the next pair we'll be looking at is USDCHF. So let's see how the USDCHF, my network is not complying this evening. So looking at this USDCHF, just like I said yesterday, I said I do not know their intention. This might be a retest of this area. I said if they break above, then it means it's not a retest. So with this bearish close, With this bearish close off the daily from this level, we may be seeing a bit of weakness on the USDCHF. That would mean dollar weakness. That's what you need to understand. You can see a bit of dollar weakness. So if we go down into our intraday chart, that's what we have here. This area rejected price, as you can see. So now price is sitting above this. This was a good trade. If you took this trade was what, let me see, was what, 38 pips. That's roughly what, 38 pips. So the next pair, it's sitting above this support now. So what you need to wait for here is a break and retest setup. You need price to close below 97.74, then retest it. If it forms at resistance, then it may drop lower. Then the next pair we'll be looking at is the EURUSD. Let's see the EURUSD from the daily view. Let's see the EURUSD from the daily view. Looking at the EURUSD from the daily view, well, this area held. There's something here. There's something here that held as support. There's a zone here. Price has not closed below it. So that shows you that 1.1077 is a pivot area of sorts. And this is a bullish engulfing. This is a bullish engulfing candle. What I'll call my second grade kind of bullish engulfing candle. It's a second grade bullish engulfing candle, but it's still very strong. So if we look at the EURUSD, so what we have here on the EURUSD is, like I said, they need to break, close below, retest and drop, but they didn't do that. What you see is they spiked below it. You can see creating almost a double bottom. So now we have a W formation. So now this is the game plan. Price may do this tomorrow and take off. This is one game plan. The other game plan is to wait for price to move up here, retest this area, maybe drop a bit lower, then take off into this area. So you have two game plans, and then the prior game plan, which is this. So this is your bearish setup, this is your bullish setup. Already we have a W formation here, which is a double bottom on the 4-hour, which points to probable further up move on the EURUSD. So next we'll be looking at is the EURGBP. So looking at the EURGBP, wicks to the top, still sitting above 1999. This 1999 is an area of importance. It needs to give way. Once it gives way, then there's a potential that we might see further weakness on the euro as against the British pound. So looking at this pair, let me mark this up in case I forget it. I have something here. So mark this up. The next pair will be look at this pair from the daily. Like I said, this was the zone it got rejected from and it dropped. So it's still sitting above these support. And with close proximity, if it goes below this 1990, as if you get to close below it, what do I mean by close below it? Retest, then it may come down here and bounce a bit. But if you ask me, the safest trade will be from here down. That's a close below 90.38. That would be a safest trade because it can bounce from here and bounce up into this trend line. The EURGBP can be very, 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 very mischievous. Let me use the term. It can be a little bit mischievous. It doesn't always go in one direction. So that's just what it is. So the next pair we'll be looking at is sorry for this. The next pair we'll be looking at is the British pound. Looking at it from the daily point of view. Let's see how the daily candle closed. Excuse me, sorry. Okay, so looking at this, a job low, wick to the bottom, and almost an engulfing of this prior candle. So looking at this pair, it might rally up tomorrow, but it has a hurdle here. There's a hurdle here coming. Let me get my. What's the problem? There's a hurdle here. It has to clear this area. That's 2207. 2207 is a line in the sand, so something like this here. So this is what we have on the intraday chart for this pair. And see, let me get rid of it. This trend line held, and this support zone here held. So now price is below this resistance here. It's below this resistance. So there's a possibility that price may drop like this, then move up here. But be well aware, this place is a resistance. This place might give it a bit of problem, which may cause it to drop here, then move up, something like this. This might just be what you might see on this pair tomorrow. I can't say. So the next pair we'll be looking at is the GBPCHF. So let's see how the GBPCHF closed off on the daily. Let's see how the GBPCHF closed off on the daily. Loading. Sorry about that. So weak to the bottom, but it's still trapped at this level, 1902, 1.1902. Still trapped below that level. So let me see. Sorry about that. That was my hourly chime telling me the market has closed. So let me see. Where is price now? So price is still at this area. That's where it's having a bit of a problem now. So you can see, that's where it's having a bit of a problem. So they need to properly close above this level. Price needs to properly close above this level and maintain it. So with the way it is, with this long way to the bottom, it may still power not tomorrow. So we can't say. So let me go to my intraday chart. Oh, sorry. So you can see, yesterday price dropped into this area and took off. So now he has to clear this area. He has to clear this area. You need to see something like this. Retest and you move into this area. Or you may see a drop and then a move higher. That's just the possible game plan. But for now, it is a resistance. It's a resistance. You just need to wait and see the game plan before you do anything. You don't buy into a resistance and you don't sell a resistance without support. So the next pair we'll be looking at is AUDUSD. Just like I said yesterday, I remember I talked about the importance of the monetary minutes on the AUDUSD. So just wait a bit, the chart is moving. As you can see, just basically this pair, nothing interesting. Nothing interesting. If you ask me on this pair, it's just ranging. There's nothing interesting happening on this pair. Nothing interesting. It's just ranging. So if you're trying to trade this pair, you might get a little bit frustrated. So I won't waste time on it. It's nothing so interesting. So this is the top, this is the bottom. Play the range. And the next pair we'll be looking at is the USDJPY, that's a dollar yen. So looking at the dollar yen, still trying to look. Let's get an idea of it. So looking at the dollar yen, well, price seems to have rejected from this area. See this place? The 7 has resistance. So this is a bearish engulfing. This is a high grade bearish engulfing. So we might see a little bit of weakness. So we'll go into the intraday chart. So you see where it's sitting at now. This place is acting as a bit of a pivot. So it's not resistance. Let me change it to gray. So this is what may happen. Price may spike a bit. If it breaks below, you need to see something like this and then you move down. That's just it. Because if you look at it from the daily, this looks like a bearish engulfing, except they take above this area. So you have two plans, this or this upper one. This is bearish, this is bullish. So those are the two scenarios for the dollar yen. The other pair we'll be looking at is the euro yen of the daily view. So the euro yen weeks to the downside, and I think there is a bit of a slight support here. It's kind of support here. It seems to be a bit of support, as you can see. They are just making sure they close above that level, weeks to the downside. So if we come into this area now, this is support, it's just sitting there. So now price may dip a bit. You may see a bit of dip in price and they move either to this level or this level. Because if you look at it from the daily, it has a wick to the lower side. The wick to the lower side points to further up move on the pair. So we just need to be aware of that. So the next pair we're looking at is the pound yen. Pound yen. Pound yen is looking like. Looking at the pound yen. This pound yen has resistance here. That's resistance 10. That's what it has not been able to close above that level. That level has been giving him a bit of a challenge. So that's what he has here. Level is giving him problem. So you might see a bit of a pullback into this area and the rally. But what will confirm a pure up move on this man is something like this. It's just what you need to see. But as long as price stays above 128.17, that's this level here, he still has the potential to move higher. It still has the potential to move higher. So the next pair we're going to look at is EURAUD. Looking at the EURAUD from the daily point of view. Looking at the EURAUD from the daily point of view, and not much. Still sitting above this area, because I think what price is basically doing is respecting the open price on this anchor candle. I think that's what they seem to be doing. They're respecting the open price on this anchor candle, because this is an anchor candle. It's an anchor candle, so they're respecting the open price. So now the question is, you see, they are kind of like ranging. And see, they have what looks like a double bottom here. So now the question is, if they rally up, they're rallying up into something here. So let me draw out where I might think they are going into here. This is where I have a feeling they might be going into. They might be rallying up into this area. So if they break above something like this, if they break above, they have this level, they have this trend line and this area there. If this place holds as resistance, then they might go lower. That's just it. But with this formation, this is almost like double bottom. What I would say is, if you get the close above 1.6409, you may see something like this. If it holds that support, then you know price is moving higher. That's just it. As if you get a good close above 1.6409 and it holds, if they come back to test 1.6409 and it holds that support, price is going to move higher. So the next pair we're going to look at is the GBPAUD. The network is not being at its best today. I don't know why. Network is not being at its best today. So let me see. So the next pair we're looking at is the BBAUD. So you can see, like I said, if it comes in here, it's going to bounce. And that's just what it is. This is resistance. So now the question is, will it take out this resistance? That's what I can see. It may drop a bit. It may drop a bit. Let's look at how the daily close goes. This daily close is pointing to possible up move. You can see the very long wick to the low, which might mean they might take out this area. So the best thing is, if they break above, wait for a retest of 79.99. That's like 1.800, 1.8 thousand. If they find support here, they're going to move higher, probably towards this high or any other level higher. So the next pair we'll be looking at is the USD card. Looking at the USD card, for the daily. Looking at the USD card from a daily point of view, we'll have card news, high impact card news tomorrow. So looking at this daily card, and see this trend line seems to be holding it. This trend line, and this is a small body range. It shows that they almost didn't do much today, you can see. So for this pair, I just can't say for now. Not looking too clear to me for now. One thing for certain is a warning that as long as it stays above this trend line, it's going to keep moving higher. That's just one thing. As long as it stays above this trend line, it has the potential to keep moving higher, and it's looking at this area. Let me put my price indicators there. Here, and here. So these are the areas it's looking at. As once we get the good break, that should this resistance trend line fail. But as long as it stays above the support trend line, it has the potential to still move on. Because if you look at this pair, it broke out of this first box swing, then tested this area and took up. So once this trend line breaks, this is where it's coming to. So the next pair is GBPCAD. Looking at the GBPCAD from the daily point of view, GBPCAD, well, it's still looking bullish. It's closing bullish. If you ask me, it's targeting this area. So how do I see that from? Aha, yes. Oh, sorry. Let's get rid of this. So I know what I'm looking at. So now let's see. Just like I said, you see, he has broken above it. Now you need to watch what he does at 1.6193. See, he has broken this trend line and he has closed above this zone here. So you might just see a bit of a pullback and a move higher. But the first obstacle is this area, then this area. So that you just know. So that's it for today's weekly currency review with Great White FX for the 21st of August 2019. I want to thank you all for coming, and I wish you all a beautiful trading day ahead. Thank you all.